This might hurt.
My first video on this channel is about this anime called Wonder Egg Priority. As the title of that video suggests, this anime was really good. But a few of y'all in the comments were like, hey man, great video, but don't get your hopes up because the ending stinks, like real bad. I was like, come on man, it can't be that bad. And I was right, it's not that bad. It is genuinely insulting. I'm not even gonna disappoint myself further by looking up why this show ended this way, so we're just gonna talk about it. But in order for you to truly understand why this ending was so abysmal, we gotta start with what made this show so great in the first place. The thing about an anime with 12 episodes is that, like any story, they have to make you care about the characters, but they have to do it fast. And this anime does that perfectly with the main cast. Neiru is the level-headed, stoic leader, Momoe is detrimentally handsome, Rika is fatherless, and Ai has heterochromia. But all four of them have to struggle with the immeasurable guilt and shame of not being able to save their friend from an untimely death. For each one of them, using the Wonder Eggs is a way of atoning for their sins, saving other girls so that one day, when they save enough, they can finally see their friends again. The monsters they fight in the egg world are the physical manifestations of these girls' trauma, and our four girls have to kill these monsters to save the egg people. What's interesting about these moments is the fact that we see the girls get genuinely angry on the victim's behalf, having to show empathy and strength of will in order to win, something that none of them could give to themselves in the real world. Rika has been burned way too many times by her alcoholic, negligent mother, so she never holds her tongue, saying the meanest things possible almost as if to reject the possibility of anyone getting to see her vulnerable. Momoe thinks she'll never find true love because everyone just basically fetishizes her for her androgyny, leaving her to see her own self-worth and identity in the way others treat her. Neiru struggles to make real friends because she's rarely ever interacted with someone as an equal. And she punished herself by locking herself away after the only person in school who was genuinely nice to her ended up taking her own life. These girls have some very serious trauma, and the way each of them handles it in the real world is vastly different. But in the egg world, the answer is always clear. Meeting each other was the best thing that could have happened for the girls. And the fact that they all get along and accept each other's flaws makes their bond that much stronger. They all lost a friend, and because of that, they ended up gaining so much more. Having someone to relate to, especially with something so obscure and literally out of this world, I bet it feels nice. You know what else is nice? The English dub for this anime. It is fantastic, okay? If I had to give an award for the best vocal performance, Uraraka's voice actor. This dude sounds like the most chill, laid-back person, and it doesn't even sound like he's reading the script. It just sounds so candid and just off the dome, like he was just freestyling it. It's amazing. But you know what they say? All good things must come to an end. And sometimes that end leaves you staring dumbfounded at your laptop screen at 2:54 in the morning. Let's move on to you from a different planet. The fact that this show is so fast-paced is a blessing and a curse. To know a bunch of the characters' personalities pretty early, and we feel more connected to them by the end. On the other hand, there are so many unresolved plot points that when the conclusion of the story finally comes, we're just left with so many more questions than answers. And that would be fine if this was that type of story, where most things were left to interpretation and the writers wanted you to really sit and come up with your own meaning for what's going on. And it seems that way in the beginning. They don't really hold your hand, and it makes you interested to see what will happen next. Until episode 11, where they just give up on that whole concept, and the entire episode is literally exposition on the main villain and her motivations. I really don't like the way that this was done. To each their own, but like, this just feels kind of cheap. I'm not gonna lie though, these things were terrifying when I first saw them, so A+ for the villainous vibes. They answer a lot of questions with Fro's backstory, like who are these two dummies and why are they bossing our girls around? Who created the egg world? Why did I just watch my boy Monin get made into turtle soup? But at the same time, this is episode 11 of 12. There is one more episode left to tie this story up and put a nice little bow on it. And what do they decide to do? In the beginning, Ai is this tragic character who gave up on living a normal life after the one consistently good thing she had was ripped away from her. But throughout the story, she learns how to cope. She cares for others, she makes friends, and she finally has reason to live. She's probably the strongest willed out of the 4 girls, as we see Rika and Momoe in pure desperation after coming face to face with what really killed their friends. And it's great to see Ai so sure of herself, but it just doesn't feel as satisfying. We know that there's something dangerous out there, the main villain, the thing that started this whole epidemic of girls killing themselves. And we don't even get to see Ai's reaction to this ultimate evil being that ruined her life. I'm not gonna sit here and act like Fro's backstory wasn't interesting, but when you look back at it after seeing how the story ended, it kind of feels like a dumb plot twist. Wonder Egg Priority was this heartwarming story of a girl finding solace after her friend's death by risking her life to save others. And then they take that beautifully poetic message and turn it into some basic shonen beat the big bad guy and save the world type thing. The only difference is they don't even let you see the bad guy get bodied. And this could have easily been fixed if Frill never existed, because it doesn't even make a difference that she does. We don't need to know why all of this stuff is happening to care about these characters. We just want the girls that we met in the first few episodes to finally be able to forgive themselves for what happened. It doesn't matter who did it or why they did it, because those girls who were trapped in the eggs will never get that answer. All they know is that someone came and let them know that what happened to them wasn't their fault and that they have someone who truly cares for them. But Frill as a concept just doesn't work in this story. It erases all of that deep meaning and replaces it with, oh, some nerds made a robot and it gained sentience and turned against humanity. But even though I am severely wounded by the lies and deception of this show's ending, it was still a beautiful story, and it really did inspire me to forgive myself for grieving and be able to just feel all of my emotions, good and bad. It let me know that there will always be someone rooting for me, even if it's a complete stranger. Now, if you'll excuse me, If you want to hear me talk in a more podcast kind of style, that is where I post the Dream Sanctuary podcast, and you get a shout out just like my current patrons, Gwen, Bioman, and Marianne. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you like hearing me talk passionately about cartoons, subscribe to the channel because I do this all the time. And with that being said, I'm out of here.